And that child of his old age is Joseph. He was 17 years old. I said 16, I'm sorry, I meant to say 17. And it's the first event we have is Joseph reporting about his brothers in a negative way. We don't know, we're not given any details. It could have been that they were doing stuff they shouldn't have been doing, and Jacob said, look, Joseph, I want you to let me know what your brothers are doing. It could have been that. Or it could have been that Joseph just took upon himself to do what sometimes younger brothers or sisters do and tell on the older siblings. It could have been that. I can relate to Joseph in some level because I also am the child of my father's old age. My dad was 42 when I was born. My brothers and sisters on my dad's side, for those of you who don't know, and I haven't said because I don't say this all the time, but I usually once or twice a year I like to remind you of the bizarreness of my family. My dad had 6 kids, and in those 6 kids were, let me see if I can remember, Mark, Matt, Cliff. I can't do it in the order. Actually, I could if I really wanted to. Mark, Amy, Jeannie. No, Amy, Cliff, Jeannie, Matt, and then Christy. I missed someone. Cliff. No, there we go. I got 6. There we go. I had to think about it for a second. There's a lot of them. Those are the Carlsons. My brother Mark Carlson is in his 60s. So they go on. The youngest sibling close to me, I'll see, Lord willing, in a couple months. And my sister Christy, who lives in Cleveland, she is 8 years older than I am. That's my mom. That's my dad's side. But there's Matt, Mark Carlson, Cliff Carlson, well, and then Amy, Jeannie, and Christy, who have their married names. So anyhow, then on my mom's side, she had 5 children, and they are Gordy, Cheryl, Robin, Mark, and Matt. So if you're keeping score, I have 2 brothers named Matt and 2 brothers named Mark of equal bloodline. That's my family. I'm the youngest of all of them, and then my stepdad has 5 kids, and I'm the youngest of them. So, and the closest brother to me on my mom's side would be my brother Matt, and he's 5.5 years older than I am, something like that. They're like stairs on that side. They're a little more complicated on the other side, but anyhow. And I'm the youngest of all of them, so I had definitely, obviously, there were some advantages to being the youngest. I will have to admit that readily. There were disadvantages too. But some of the youngest, especially on my dad's side, were simply, I was alive. They were all gone, so there were a little more resources. But beyond that, I had it rough. My dad was a teacher, a public school teacher, and he taught day and night school so he could have his summers off. And he did have his summers off, and then they were rough. We had to live on a sailboat on a lake, or on Lake mainly Lake St. Clair, which is not technically a great lake, but pretty close. And I lived at a beach, and life was rough. But my brothers Cliff and Matt would sometimes come out. My sister. By that time, my brothers and sisters in that area were pretty much scattered around the country. My sister Amy and my brother Cliff are both in Washington State. At that time, my sister Christy was in Kansas City, I believe, or Reno, Nevada. I can't remember which. My brother Matt was the only one local. My brother Mark was just kind of away at that time, and then he's back, and anyhow, loved him to death. So all of us are spread around the country, and some really cool places. Lisa and I were talking about that this summer. You know, it'd be neat to see my sister Jeannie, because I've never been to her place, and she lives in Jackson, Wyoming, right surrounded by the Grand Tetons. But the problem is figuring out how to get there and get back in a week's time, and it's not something we want to do. But anyhow.